everyone, welcome to our first lesson, the Philippine tourism industry. The Philippine tourism industry is composed of the government sector and the private sector. Today, we are going to learn the role of the government sector in tourism. The Philippine tourism industry is composed of the government sector and the private sector. It is the responsibility of both national and local governments to prepare and implement tourism development plans, enforcement of standards, and collection of data for tourism purposes. The government sector is responsible for the formulation of tourism policies. It provides guidelines for the development of destinations and regulates the tourism industry in collaboration of other government agencies. There are four government agencies that are directly involved in tourism. First is the Department of Tourism or DOT, Philippine Convention and Visitors Corporation or PCVC, Philippine Tourism Authority or PTA, and the LGUs, municipal, city, and provincial local government units. Example of a municipal government unit is the Municipality of Pamplona, the Municipality of Amlan. For the city local government unit, we have Tanhay City, Dumaguete City, or Bayuan City. For the provincial government unit, we have the province of Negros Oriental. Let us discuss these government agencies one by one, starting off with the Department of Tourism. DOT was established by Presidential Decree Number 189 in 1973. It was reorganized into its present setup by Executive Order Number 120 with Article 2 and 3 of the Freedom of Constitution of 1986. DOT is the national government's organization overseeing the country's tourism industry. The current secretary is Bernadette Romulo Puyat, who assumed office on May 11, 2018. In 2003, the Department of Tourism initiated one of its most successful tourism promotion projects, WOW Philippines, under Secretary, now Senator Richard J. Gordon. What you're seeing now is the organizational chart of the Department of Tourism. The department is headed by the Secretary of Tourism, with the following four undersecretaries and assistant secretaries. First, Undersecretary for Administration and Special Concerns, Undersecretary for Public Affairs, Communications and Special Projects, Undersecretary for Tourism Development Planning, Undersecretary for Tourism Promotions, Undersecretary for Tourism Regulation, Coordination and Resource Generations, Assistant Secretary for Administration and Special Concerns, Assistant Secretary for Public Affairs, Communications and Special Projects, Assistant Secretary for Tourism Development Planning, Assistant Secretary for Tourism Regulation, Coordination and Resource Generation for Metro Manila Cluster, and Assistant Secretary for Tourism Regulation, Coordination and Resource Generation for Luzon and Visayas. Let us proceed to the second government agency involved in tourism, the Philippines Convention and Visitors Corporation. The PCVC is the marketing arm of the Department of Tourism. Its main task is to promote the Philippines as a tourist and convention and incentive travel destination. It coordinates with and provides assistance to tourism associations, LGUs, local tourism councils, and non-government organizations with respect to tourism marketing and promotions. PCVC is a non-stock, non-profit government corporation attached to the Philippine Department of Tourism. The third government agency involved in tourism is the Philippine Tourism Authority or PTA. PTA was created on May 11, 1973 pursuant to Presidential Decree Number 189, as amended by Presidential Decree Number 564 as the implementing arm of the Department of Tourism. PTA implements policies and programs of the department pertaining to the developments, promotion, and supervisions of tourism projects in the Philippines. One of the main responsibilities of the Philippine Tourism Authority is the collection of travel taxes. According to the Local Government Code of 1991, the local government units are also involved in the tourism industry. They regulate the establishment, operation, and maintenance of cafes, restaurants, beer houses, hotels, motels, inns, pension houses, lodging houses, and other similar establishments, including tourist guides and transports. So, what are the powers of LGU in tourism? For the municipality, they establish tourism facilities, develop tourism attractions, acquire tourism equipment and facilities, and regulate tourism business concessions and security services. For the provincial level, the province is responsible for tourism development and promotion programs. In the case of Negros Oriental, we have the Provincial Tourism Unit located in Sidlakang Negros Village. The powers of the City Tourism Office are the same with the municipality and province powers. Other national government units are also involved in tourism. We have the Department of Transportation and Communications, or DOTC. DOTC is the primary government agency responsible for the development and regulation of transportation. We all know that tourism involves traveling to places. And when you travel, transportation is very important. The Department of Environment and Natural Resources is also involved in the tourism industry. Most of our tourist attractions are located in natural areas. These attractions should also be protected to avoid negative environmental impacts of tourism. The Department of Foreign Affairs promotes friendly relations with other countries. As Filipino citizens, it is where we get our passport in order to visit places outside of our country. There are also countries requiring visa upon entry, so tourists and even Filipino citizens visit the Bureau of Immigration. The Philippine National Police also has a very important role in the tourism industry. They maintain the peace and order in tourism destinations and attractions. Before we end this lesson, let me give you some questions for you to answer. Number 1. What are the 4 government agencies involved in tourism, and what are their functions? Number 2. Give at least 4 other government agencies involved in tourism and explain their functions in the tourism industry. So now, you already learned the role of the government sector in the Philippine tourism industry. In our next lesson, we are going to learn and study the role of the private sector in the tourism industry. Until next time,